gentlemen, the convocation begins with a procession. As the procession enters, all are requested to rise and remain standing till all in the procession are in front of their seats until the chief guest takes his seat. I request you all to keep your mobile phones silent to avoid any disturbance. You may be seated now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 5th Convocation of XIME Chennai. We now invite Padma Bhushan, Mr. B. Muthuraman, the Honorable Chairman of XIME Chennai, to declare the convocation open.
I declare the fifth convocation of XIME Chennai open.
Thank you, sir.
The story of XIME is of sheer determination and persistence. May I now request Mr. Anil J. Philip, President, XIME Society, to deliver the welcome address.
Still morning, right? So good morning. Come on. For students who are graduating today, that doesn't sound like someone's graduating. So louder good morning, please. Yeah, that's more like it. Chairman of XIME Chennai, Mr. Muthuraman, someone I really look up to and someone who's really laid the bar over the last 3 years of XIME Chennai with his guidance. Father Sebastian, I'm specifically calling you out because Father Sebastian is currently the director of XLRI, but some of you may not know, Father Sebastian was the first director of XIME Chennai. So on the fifth convocation, it was only apt to request him to join us here. Other members of the board who are present, Dr. Manoj Varghese happens to be the past director of XIME Chennai, and Samir is the first alumni from XIME Bangalore. So welcome to all of us for this fifth convocation. Parents who are here and probably online, family and friends of the graduating batch, welcome to what would be a treasure day for you. Welcome, of course, to the officiating director of XIME Chennai, Dean Academics, and all the faculty and staff present here. This is a very special day for you as well. 2 years you have journeyed and labored with this group of students. I guess there are a few first years here. So welcome to you as well. Your time will come 1 year from now, but remember, to get that seat, you need a 5 CGPA. Now, of course, a hearty welcome to our chief guest, Srivats Ram, who is the managing director of Wheels India, one of the best known companies of South India. And anyone tracking the auto sector for that matter will definitely know of Wheels India. Wheels India started more than 60 years back, manufacturing commercial wheels, and then everything wheels. So if you have a car, probably even a scooter, I have not really got into that depth, you have a Wheels India product on your vehicle, because they probably are one of the largest manufacturer of wheels in India, or probably the world. They obviously has diversified, moving to chassis, components for renewable energy, etc. What is less known about Wheels India is that it is part of a very, very famed group called the TS Santhanam Group, which has other leading companies like Brakes India, Sundaram Motor, and even for some who may know this, in the finance sector, Sundaram Finance. So part of a very, very popular, very well-known Indian household name. Srivats did his MBA from Case Western University, USA. Under his leadership, Wheels India has been expanding, innovating with a focus on quality and sustainability. And I'll come back to quality in a minute and about Srivats on that. It is little wonder that the revenue of Wheels India has more than doubled in the last 10 years to 4,000 crores. And this in spite of an industry most affected by COVID. Their share price over this period has also increased 2.5 times. Great leaders always stay connected with the market and the industry that they work with. He participates regularly in events like the Auto Expo, meeting customers and industry bodies. As an example, currently he is the Vice Chairman of CII Tamil Nadu. And in a similar way, he holds board positions, and he's a busy man as a result. 10 plus boards, he's a board member. In fact, I know I'm not doing justice, but I'm not to blame to Srivats. There is not much on the internet about him. Usually you're able to dig up even from the internet. I looked at his LinkedIn profile, very simple, very basic. I even tried the Chat GPT for some help. Chat GPT also failed because they combined him with another Srivats. So I started getting a lot of mixed information, so I threw that in the trash can. I did reach out to some employees in the group companies. I got a few things. One, he's a very humble person, very down to earth, never loses his cool. Now, I have to clarify that is an employee of a group company, so I don't know if everything is true, right? On a lighter weight, Srivats. Because I heard only great things. And if I was to then package that and say that if I look at what Srivats is, he's what Jim Collins calls in his book Good to Great, a level 5 leader. Somebody who really leads without looking for that attention and the power that is required around it. And I was recently told in the morning by Mr. Muthuraman, and that's when the profile that I got from his office did not mention this. He's a winner of the Deming Award, one of the leading awards for TQM in the country. And in India, I think only 2 individuals have received it. That is him and a relative of his, Mr. Venu Srinivas. And that's all thanks only because Mr. Raman was able to share that information. Otherwise, we would not have been able to clap for that great applause. So, Srivats, welcome, and thank you for being here. I'm sure you will inspire them to set their wheels in the right direction. Now let me turn my attention to the stars of the day, XIME Chennai class of 2023. This is your big day. From a business standpoint, this is not the right batch size that we would have looked for, right? But I'm sure what I can tell you is, as a batch as small as yours, let me tell you that's the best thing that would happen to you. When batches become big, you won't even know who was in your batch and who was not in your batch. So the bonds that you have formed here will always hold you in great stead. Now, I don't know how many of you, I know there is diversity in this group. Enough of you are from outside of Tamil Nadu, some from South India, but many from Central and North India. And for anyone who's seen Munna Bhai, the first time your roommate was given to you, this is what you probably felt like. Good Lord, that's my roommate. Right? Probably not as bad, but something close to that. But this is what makes XIME stand out. When you go into the outside world, makes you accept diversity. This is what makes you accept inclusivity. You learn to network, starting with friends and then pushing yourself to network to the outside world with initiatives like SIP, SUPA, industry visits, club activities. Yes, I don't know in such a small group if this happened. In Bangalore, this happens a lot. No. There is a signal drop quite often in your network. In Bangalore, this is very common. I don't know about your case. Let me collectively thank your family and friends, parents in particular, who have supported you through life always, and here at XIME. Parents, do pat yourself on the back. Wipe that tear of joy. Your girls and boys turned out just great in spite of the many scares that they may have given you along the way. And as Farhan Qureshi found out, maybe that's too dramatic, but I'm sure you told them, beta beti ja ji le apni zindagi. Now, not sure what your expectations of faculty were when you came in. Some probably look like Boman Irani, the virus, and some like Amir Khan. Any resemblance to anyone in the campus is purely coincidental and unintentional. But whatever their style, whatever their approach, they always had your best in mind. Remember, even for the virus, the most deserving student finally got that famed pen, not anyone else. And the contribution of you, the faculty, etc., can be summed up best in the words of Henry Brooks. A teacher affects eternity. They can never tell where their influence stopped. Each of your faculty, graduating students, have played a part in your transformation. Always remember that. Always reach out to them. Always stay connected. Always give back that love that they gave you while you were here. I'm sure this has been a journey of transformation, starting with something as basic as overall confidence, knowledge-based communication skills, etc. And you entered in a particular way, and I thought the best representation of that was Chak De. And today as you graduate, that smile on your face tells it all. There is a highlight that I'm really proud of. As of today, what we were told by the director is only 3 of the graduating batch are yet to be placed. Even that, I think, should happen very soon. You got an ROI on your face which is greater than 100%. So congratulations to this batch for walking tall on that as well. Look back at your time at XIME Chennai and seize opportunities and accept challenges, and look to the future with optimism so that because of you, the world can be more optimistic. Remember, you have found a better version of yourself. Let me end with this quote from Walt Disney. All your dreams can come true if you have the courage to pursue them. Good luck and stay happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I now request our beloved Chairman, Padma Bhushan, Mr. B. Muthuraman, to welcome our Chief Guest, Mr. Srivatsram, MD, Wheels India Limited, with a bouquet.
I now request our Honorable President, XIME Society, Mr. Anil J. Philip, to welcome Father Dr. Sebastian George, Director, XLRI, with the bouquet.
Thank you, sir.
May I now request Dr. Ravi Veeraraghavan, the officiating director of XIME Chennai, to present the annual report.
Good morning. Our chief guest, Mr. Srivatsram, Managing Director, Wheels India Limited. Mr. B. Muthuraman, Chairman, XIME Chennai. Mr. Anil Philip, President, XIME Society. Father George Sebastian, Director, XLRA Jamshedpur. Members of the Board of Governors, faculties, staff, students, parents, invitees from industry, press, guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is our privilege to have you all on the happy occasion of the 5th Convocation of XIME Chennai. I deem it an honor to present the annual report on this occasion. Let me start with orientation program. That's when we started the batch. The orientation started with a common inauguration organized on 11th July 2022. Mr. Anil J. Philip welcomed all the students virtually, and he was present in Bangalore at that time, and our students participated from this place. Chairman Mr. B. Muthuraman gave an inaugural speech. The chief guest of the day was Mr. Joshi Sebastian, country head YCH Logistics. He addressed the students and shared his experience with XIME. He is also an alumni of XIME. Dr. Venkatraman, who is a visiting professor in many of the leading B schools, handled a session on creative thinking, and Mr. T.S. Mahesh, a professional trainer, conducted a team building activity on that day. The officiating director addressed the students on the transformation journey at XIME. Our placement coordinator, Mr. Rajarajan, conducted a session on campus to corporate. Students profile. Batch 6 has 107 students coming from 19 states, including Bihar, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Uttarakhand, and Gujarat. 41% of our students are girls. 40% of our students are engineers and science graduates. XIME Chennai took care to ensure the learning experience is not compromised and the students are able to connect with faculties freely for their learning and development. Our efforts were amply rewarded when the overall feedback of the students suggested that XIME Chennai had performed well in this area. Examinations. We initiated accreditation process from this year for the students' exam. Library. The library has 9,000 plus volumes of books consisting of 6,000 titles and 9,000 volumes besides 13,000 ebooks. We subscribe to 22 international journals, 27 national journals, and 23 magazines. We buy 8 newspapers and provide business, standard, and economic time newspapers to all the students. We subscribe to EBSCO so that they can access various research reports online. We also have access to Harvard case studies and Reuters Refinitiv, which is a comprehensive source for corporate data. Leadership talks. We had many leadership talks and guest lectures by the industry experts and industry leaders during the year. It includes leadership talks by various people, including Mr. Rajesh Raghavan, President, Corporate Rane Group, Mr. Balaji Sadagopan, Founder, Chai Kings, Mr. Joshi Thomas, AGM Hyundai, Mr. Gokul Sandanam, Senior VP Emphasis, Mr. Ganesh, Divisional HR Upload Tires, and Mr. Varun Mirle, Researcher and Alumni, London School of Business. Summer internship and live projects. What is unique about Chennai campus is the live projects. Our students visited several companies in connection with live projects. It includes Hyundai, Delphi TVS, Maersk, Upload Tires, Emphasize, Nielsen, Northern Arc, Drive-Stream, etc. We encourage the students to take up live projects with the companies around during the afternoon time. 74 live projects have been taken up during this year, and students largely benefited by having hands-on experience while they study the PGDM course. Summer internships. More than 50% of our students got summer internship with stipend. This is an unique achievement for this campus because in the earlier years, we used to have SIPs without stipends. Now we have changed it. The summer internships includes project with companies like TVS Credit, Dalphi TVS, Titan, Tata Steel, Reliance Retail, Ernst & Young, Aditya Birla, HLL, and ICICI Group. Student club activities. The students formed clubs for each discipline and conducted events all through the year. It includes a variety of activities like expert lectures, contests, knowledge sharing sessions, etc. We have Finacle for finance, XOps for operations, XEED for social work, X-Marketees for marketing, and Rhythm for HR. Our students took part in several external programs and won prizes. Let me highlight a few. Our HR students won the first prize in the industry quiz conducted by Atma HR Forum, in which almost 30 companies participated. HR folks from 30 companies participated, and we won the first prize in that competition. 15 of our students participated in JUST 23, an intercollegiate meet at MOP Vaishnav College, and all of them won the prizes in different events. XIME Chennai participated and won the second prize in the Management Fest organized by LIBA. 10 students could win all the prizes from DITENS 23 organized by VIT Business School, Chennai. Mr. B. Vignesh, Ms. Niveta Kumar, and Mr. Vijay Magesh, our students, presented their paper in the International Case Conference, and it got published. Many prizes were won by our students in both Management Fest conducted by XIME Bangalore and Kochi. Celebrations. XIME celebrated various festivals like Diwali, Christmas, Pongal, Onam, etc. besides Independence Day and Republic Day. On the Independence Day, the officiating director hoisted the flag, followed by national anthem. He addressed the audience, highlighting the India's growth story since independence. Awards were bestowed for the events that were held, and Ms. Niveda Kumar of Batch 5 was felicitated with a scholarship named Mr. P.C. Syriac Scholarship Award. Republic Day celebrations. On the Republic Day, our officiating director unfurled the national flag and addressed the students. Dean of Academics, Professor Suresh Kumar, announced the merit scholarship results, and our director handed over their scholarships letters to the students. Devi Priyanka N of Batch 5 was awarded the XIME founder J. Philip Merit Cum Means Scholarship. XIME's fourth convocation. XIME Chennai conducted its fourth convocation ceremony for the PGDM batch of 2020-22 on 21st of May 2022. Our chief guest was Mr. R. Mukundan, MD and CEO Tata Chemicals, addressed the graduates and shared his journey, quoting various instances of leadership in action. Maria Philip debate. XIME Chennai organized the Maria Philip Future Leaders Debate Competition across Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. Winners of the Chennai regions are from Madras Christian College, and in Coimbatore, Sri Ramakrishna College, and in Madurai, Tyagaraja Engineering College. In the final round, at the state level, Jensen Johnson and Prajani Soundra of MCC were the winners. Actually, over 200 students participated in this debate competition across Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. International Conference. An international conference on leadership, entrepreneurship, and advances in management was organized successfully on 25th of March 2023. It meant to provide a premier interdisciplinary platform to present and discuss the most recent innovations, trends, and concerns, as well as practical challenges encountered in the management of business. 45 papers were submitted for this conference, and 25 were accepted for final presentations, and certificates were awarded. Okay, these papers shortlisted will be published in UGC CARE journals, publications. During this academic year, 32 research articles, which included ABDC index and peer-reviewed journals, were published by our faculties and students. I'm happy to mention that all the students of Batch 5 published at least one paper under the guidance of our faculty members. Further, Batch 5 students published 3 case studies also. Mr. Vignesh Dipapoma Sanyal and Sumit Mondal of Batch 5 received Best Paper Award in the international conference organized by SRM Institute of Technology, Vadapalani. Management Development Programs. Chennai conducted more than 60 programs, the highest in a year since its inception, and this is meant for managers and executives in the industry. XIME Chennai conducted a 6-month-long leadership development program called LEAP for the department heads of Delphi TVS. We conducted several management programs for Hyundai executives in the areas like problem solving, decision making, creativity and innovation, strategic thinking, negotiation skills, etc. We have also conducted a special program for Young Leadership Program called Young Leadership Program for executives of Royal Enfield, covering various topics like customer centricity, cycle time, goal setting, quality management systems, service quality, finance sense, critical thinking, design thinking, etc. We also conducted an analytics program on HR for various executives in the companies around Varagadam. Now I move on to placement. We have been successful in placing our students all through since our inspection with the first batch in 2017. We have completed now placed 5 batches. As of now, for the 5th batch, we have placed 94% of the students at an average salary of rupees 9.2 lakhs. In fact, when we started the first batch, the average salary was 6 lakhs only. Now we have moved up to 9.2 in the 5th batch. We'll be reaching 100% of placement shortly. Only 3 are left. The average salary is 1.1 lakhs more than last year. The highest CTC is around 14.5 lakhs. These students have been placed across different sectors, including technology, manufacturing, consulting, and banking. Our recruiters include Infosys, PwC, KPMG, HDFC, Ernst & Young, Nielsen, Oracle, SBI, Tata Play, and Adani. Graduating students. Out of 49 students, the Board of Governors has approved the awarding of PGDM to all the 49 students of Batch 5 in the convocation today. The Board of Governors have also approved the awarding of PGDM for the 6 students of Batch 4. Congratulations to all. We have awards for the best outgoing students. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the sponsors of these student awards. Finally, I thank Professor J. Philip, Honorable Principal Founder XIME and Academic Advisor for XIME, for guiding us all through. I would like to thank Mr. Muthuraman, Honorable Chairman, Mr. Anil J. Philip, President, and Mr. Kuncharia, the Secretary, Father George, and other board members for their support and guidance. I also thank the faculty members and staff for their efforts in developing the managerial skills for our students. I would like to thank the XIME alumni, Mr. Manoj, Mr. Samir, both are there, for their valuable contribution and time with our students. In fact, Dr. Manoj conducted a special session for the students who are sitting for placement. In fact, he spent quite a bit of time in coaching them. I would also like to thank the industry for supporting us in making our students industry ready. I would like to conclude my report by wishing the outgoing students all the best in their careers. I'm sure there's a special bond between the graduating students and the institute. We value and cherish that bond. I'm sure you will continue to associate with XIME with the same spirit and enthusiasm by contributing to XIME Chennai's progress and growth. May God's blessing follow you all. All the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
May I now request Father Dr. Sebastian George, Director, XLRI Jamshedpur, to deliver his special address.
Respected Chief Guest, Mr. Muthuraman, Chairman of XIME Chennai, and President of XIME, Mr. Anil, and Director of XIME Chennai, Dr. Ravi, and Mr. Samir, Manoj, and Suresh, and dear students, who are graduating, faculties and parents and media persons. It's still morning, I suppose. Good morning to you all. Today, I really congratulate you on this great day that as you graduate and get into your job market, be courageous, be always hopeful, always compassionate to one another. Today, I like to mention to you 3 triads. The first triad is, it is observed in the mountaineering process. There are 3 kinds of people. The first one is who are very enthusiastic. They buy the best suit. With lots of interest, they start climbing. At the first obstacle, a problem, they just give up. They say, enough is enough. And the first kind is known as the quitters, because they quit whatever they start once they face some suffering, some problems, some challenges. The second kind of people, they climb the mountain to reasonable distance and they find a nice place. Then they put the camp and stay there. They are the second type is campers. And campers, successful, but their real potentiality never get realized. They are happy with the minimum they have achieved. And campers will become eventually quitters. The third type, they are the people, those who continue to climb. They reach a peak, then they see there is another peak, they continue to climb till the end. And they are called the climbers. Now you have to think which group you belong to. Certainly you are not quitters because you have completed the program. You have conquered the first peak. But there is a real danger you may become campers if you are lethargic without any vision. Keep climbers. Be a climber. Always look, there is something to acquire, something to improve, something to do. This is the first triad. The second triad is, there are 3 kinds of approaches when we face death. It is observed in the prison. The prisoners who were sentenced to death, first type, they go crying, wailing, shouting for help. I am innocent, invariably. They say they are innocent. So that is first reaction to death is crying, denial. Okay, not accepting. The second one is they just give up everything. Very quiet, very silently they walk as if they are dead before being hanged. Then there is a third kind of people who are the people who go with smile, cheerfully, almost like a wedding festival of their own. And they face death with courage, with cheerfulness, with the sense of fulfillment. And 1970, there were 2 criminals who were sentenced to death. Billa Ranga, you might have seen. Ranga literally behaved like a first type. He was crying, shouting, wailing. Whereas Billa was taken to the death sentence, he was given up completely quiet. Then there was a third type, Bhagat Singh. He could walk in with a smiling face, with a cheerfulness, and face the death. What is the difference? If you have lived your life to the fullness, if you are a climber, constantly living your potentiality, then death will not frighten. It's not an end. It becomes the celebration, crescendo. And Rajneesh would call it, they become immortal. So this is a three kinds. First triad, the climbers only behave like a third type of people facing the death. The third triad is happiness. There are three levels of happiness. The first level of happiness is, you know it, having fun, dance, eating ice cream, partying, all kinds, which children up to 10, they know happiness only in that form. Okay, having good time, enjoying. That is also happiness. That is first level of happiness. The second level of happiness is choosing something that you are passionate about it, something that excites you, and excelling in that. For example, dancing is your passion. Then when you dance, you and dance become one. That is the second level of happiness, any area, writing, reading, maybe advertising, finding out your goal, calling, and excelling in that, that is the second level of happiness. The third level of happiness is when you make a significant difference in the life of the other, in the society. That is, when you live a meaningful life, then you experience the third level of happiness. Now look at all the three triads. First triad, I said climbers, always set goal, always move, living a purposeful life. As a result, they come to the second triad, that is facing the death with sense of fulfillment. And they are the one who experience the third level of happiness. So today, my message is very simple. In all three triads, where you belong, which one you are practicing as of now. If you have been a quitter, also remember you are not a complete quitter. You have reached up to now, completed the course which you want to do. So you are a climber, but there is always a danger for you, for me, for everyone. We may become campers. That's a constantly. One of the classical example is from management, Peter Drucker, the management group. He usually chooses 3-year period. This 3 year, I will study emotional intelligence. Then after 3 years, he will choose the medieval history of Europe. Any topic, constantly. That's the reason he became the management guru. You read any one of his book, the depth and breadth is so vast. Because he was a climber, constantly excelling in whatever a person is doing. I wish you all become climbers and live a meaningful, a purposeful life. Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you, sir.
And now, we come to the most awaited moment of the day. The Batch 5 students will now receive their prized diplomas, a symbol of accomplishment at this point. May I now call upon stage Professor Suresh Kumar B., Dean Academics, to take over the proceedings.
We now come to the key event of the convocation. Candidates for the 2-year full-time postgraduate diploma in management, please rise. The candidates will individually receive the diploma certificate from Honorable Chairman Mr. Muthuraman, XIME Chennai, and then return to their places and remain standing. I now request Honorable Chairman Mr. Muthuraman to present the diploma certificates to the graduating students. I request all those present here to reserve their applause till all the diplomas have been presented and to avoid clapping in between. Akash. Amrita Hari. Amrit Raj Behra. Anand Veerapan. Anisha Chowdhury. Anupa Francis Dangdang. Akfakuddin. Arganil Das. Aswajit. Bachchu Pawan Kumar. Bhavya Kebi. Debo Poma Sanyal. Devi Priyanka. Divya. Francina Saliman. Gopinath. Hariharan. Jai Shri Rath. Joylene. Mahalakshmi. Michael James. Niveda Kumar. Om Prakash. Pradeep Kumar. Pragya Srivastava. Praveen Rajesh. Ram Kishore. Rahul Sharma. Sachin Kumar. Sai Harini. Saket Singh. Salman Sheikh. Smriti Suman. Subham Adurja. Sumit Mondal. Tanishta Pandey. Kamal Ravi Teja. Usha J. Vignesh B. Vijay Mahesh. Yogesh Kumar. That was the last student to receive the diploma. Now the audience may applaud. Mr. Chairman, upon the recommendation of the faculty, I have the honor to present Akash and 40 others in person and 8 in absentia from batch 5 and 6 students in absentia from batch 4 who have successfully completed the prescribed course of studies and fulfilled all other requirements of the PGDM 2-year full-time course at XIME Chennai. I request Honorable Chairman, Mr. Muthuraman, to confer on behalf of the Board of Governors of XIME Chennai the postgraduate diploma in management on these candidates.
By the authority vested in me, I award you the postgraduate diploma in management, and I charge that by thought, word, and deed, you prove yourselves worthy of this award. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The new graduates may resume their seats.
Thank you, sir. Now, may I request Professor Suresh Kumar V, Dean Academics, to announce the Excellence Awards.
I request the chief guest, Mr. Srivats Ram, MD, Wheels India, to kindly present the awards for excellence. The following students of the PGDM program, please come forward one at a time and receive the award for excellence from the chief guest. They are also requested to remain at the back of the dais to facilitate taking of group photographs. Chairman's Merit Award of Rs 20,000 cash prize and certificate for the students scoring highest CGPA in the 2-year PGDM program in batch 5. And the award goes to Niveda Kumar. Temple India has instituted an award of Rs 10,000 and a certificate for the best all-rounder PGDM batch 5. And the award goes to Vignesh B. We now have the awards for excellence in various specializations. NMAX Systems has sponsored the award of Rs 10,000 and a certificate for excellence in finance in the outgoing PGDM batch 5. And the award goes to Anand Veerappan. The Excellence in Human Resource Award is sponsored by Atma HR Forum, carries an award of Rs 10,000 and a certificate in the outgoing PGDM batch 5. And the award goes to Bhavya KB. An award has been instituted in memory of late Professor M.K. John, carries an award of Rs 10,000 and a certificate for excellence in operations in the outgoing PGDM batch 5. And the award goes to Debopoma Sanyal. The Excellence in Marketing Award is created in memory of late Professor Labdi Bandari and carries an award of Rs 10,000 and a certificate. And the award goes to Mahalakshmi N. XIME takes pride in presenting the Archbishop Alphonsus Matthias Award for humanitarian spirit and services rendered. The award carries a cash prize of rupees 10,000 and a certificate. And the award goes to Praveen Rajesh. Thank you, sir. Now we'll have a group photograph with the award winners.
Thank you, sir. The winners can go back to their seats. We would like to take a moment to again thank the sponsors of the respective awards for partnering with us in recognizing excellence in various areas of management. We thank our sponsors, Temple India, NMAC System, Atma HR Forum. We would like to thank Professor Suresh Kumar V for his initiative in instituting the Excellence in Marketing Award in the memory of late Professor Labdi Bandari. And we would like to thank Mr. Matthew Paul Virilil in instituting the Excellence in Operations Award in the memory of late Professor M.K. John. We look forward to your continued support for our upcoming batches as well.
May I request our distinguished chief guest of the day to deliver the convocation address and enlighten our batch of graduates.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Muthuraman, Anil Philip, other people from XIME, I'm delighted to be here. Let me start off by congratulating all of you. I think you've put in a lot of work. Congratulations to the students, to the parents who've come here for your convocation, and also congratulations to all the teachers who've been instrumental in taking you through this course. It's an exciting time for you to be graduating. This is probably an amazing opportunity in the history of our country. I remember when I graduated, of course, I was not in India, but at that time, liberalization had just started, and everything was completely new, but there's also a lot of uncertainty. Whereas now, when you graduate, you're getting into an era where there's a certain amount of optimism, there is growth, and this is perhaps India's time in the world to grow and actually achieve something. So it is in that sense a very opportune time for you to get out into the work field. The opportunities which are presented to us are slightly different from what they have been perhaps, say, even 3 years back or 5 years back. In that actually geopolitics has changed during this time, and because a lot of countries are looking at de-risking from China their opportunities, specifically in manufacturing in India, because countries are looking at having sources outside of China or manufacturing outside of China. So it's a massive opportunity in the sense that in India, manufacturing has been struggling at 15-16% of GDP. And while the government has always had an aspiration of 25% of GDP coming from manufacturing, this impetus of China de-risking, along with the various programs that the government has undertaken, should give a lot of opportunities to all of you. But I thought I would talk to you a little bit about my experience working in my family business, the TVS family, and what I've learned from it. and also tell you a little bit about what I tell my people and how I manage my business. And really, when you look at it, what underlines decision making and approach and attitude are actually what we call as values. So just to give you, some definitions here, as this is a management school. Values are fundamental beliefs that guide attitudes and actions. Now, the idea is that if you can make these values consistent, and if you can get enough people in an organization to imbibe these values, both in terms of their attitude, their thoughts, and the actions and decisions that they take, then it becomes a culture. A culture is actually a behavior which is based on these values. And this is actually, if you ask me what is my job as the MD of a company, of course, we are a listed entity. We need to ensure financial results to our shareholders. But for me, continuing a legacy of a group that started in 1911 and making sure that the culture is there and the culture continues is an essential part of the job. So let me talk to you a little bit about the values and how I've learned the values, because these are not encoded. There's no document that says these are the values. This is my perception of what I've gathered by working in the group for 29 years. So to start off with, rather than tell you the values, I'm going to give you anecdotes to kind of support some of this. To start off with, when I did my internship in Sundam Finance before liberalization actually in 90. And at that time, I was sent to various branches. And before I went, my grandfather told me, when you're going to the branches, please take notes, be prepared, because I will ask you questions after you finish your internship. So I went, and I was petrified of my grandfather. He started the company, and I was just someone who had done his undergraduate degree and nothing else. And I went and visited customers, and I took these diligent notes to the level of detail, including what food I was served, what coffee I was served, how many children each customer had, as many questions as I could probably ask of the customers I asked, and I got all this. And when I came back, I expected my grandfather to quiz me, but he asked a couple of questions. Oh, who did you meet? Did you go to their house? Very general questions, and I really didn't think too much about it at that time. And it never struck me what he was actually doing. What he was actually doing through this whole process is trying to understand whether I have the capability of listening to the customer. That's probably the first lesson that I learned, and I probably realized it only, say, the last 3 or 4 years. Before that, I just thought that's a routine part of it. The second lesson that I got from my grandfather when I started working is, he asked me once. He said, "Who do you work for?" So I said, he was the chairman of the company. So I said, I work for you. He said, "You don't work for me. You work for the customer. You sell product, the customer pays for it, and from that you get your salary. So your customer is the person you're working for. Don't ever forget it." Now, this is what I wanted to talk to you about, because we have there are 4 values that I see as being inherent in our journey, but the value that's probably the most important is customer focus. When you're in enterprise, or when you're working for an enterprise, everything is about that customer. If you're able to satisfy that customer, you get business. That business can grow, and when the business grows, you do well. So I'll just skip this customer focus part and then move anecdotally to relationships. So the one thing that you need to remember in your life, when everyone is dead, when you're dead, you don't have any money. The only thing that exists are the relationships that you had. You may no longer be there, but the people with whom you had relationships, your memory continues in those people. The relationships are probably the most important thing in life. Of course, you have relationships with friends, with family members, but in business, those relationships are equally important. And here I want to tell you a little bit about when we talk about relationships, it is across the board. When the companies, manufacturing companies of TVS were set up in the 1960s, there was an objectives document, and the objective document said it's important for us to create teamwork amongst everybody from the workers to the engineers to the managers and make sure that they work well together. And towards this, it's important that we train people and treat people equally. So when the companies were started in the 1960s, there was a canteen which is a common canteen. There was a medical facility which was common. There was training that was given to workmen and engineers in the classroom, which I think in the 1960s was very, very new. The relationships matter because I'll say that in the late 80s, there was an employee who was on the shop floor. He had joined us, I think, 10 years back or something, and he had a health issue, which there was no treatment available in the country. And my father at that time took the decision to fly him overseas so that he can get treatment. So this is what when I say relationship, it's very similar to having a relationship with someone in a family. What I tell my people at work is that people end up coming to work, 8-9 hours a day. And very often they end up spending more time in the company than they do with their family. So it's important that the organization also looks at employees as family members. Of course, employees also leave the organization, but I can tell you I'm still in touch with at least maybe 60 or 70 people who've left my organization. Some left 20 years back. We're still in touch on at least once a year basis. So coming to relationships, I want to tell you a little bit about the car dealership business that we entered. When TVS entered the car dealership business, it was in the 1920s. So in the 1920s, the people who owned cars were Maharajas or movie stars. Few businessmen, but largely those type of people. And you could not send a mechanic to a palace. So the family members actually had to go along with the vehicle to sell the vehicle. Even for servicing, they needed to go there to get entry into some of these places. And through that, actually, they learned that it's important to build a connect with the end customer. And these relationships have actually, in some cases, continued over 50, 60 years. So there are customers who were customers 60 years back. Even now, of course, there's much more competition than there used to be in earlier times. But very often we maintain relationships with people even if we don't get business. I can give you a case of some of the companies like Sundam Finance where we had a relationship for 30 years. We were not competitive. We lost the business. We maintained the relationship. We continued to maintain the relationship, and after another 6 or 7 years, we got back the business. And maintaining the relationship meant going for all the weddings in the family, celebrating all the events of the family with them. And that is a kind of deep relationship that we actually mean. Of course, in addition to this, we also give scholarships to our employees. And I remember once when I was the president of ACMA, there was some panel discussion, and there was a young manager, I think from Siemens, and he was waiting awkwardly at the end of the event. And I asked him, is there anything I can help you with? And he said, no, I wanted to tell you that, I won a scholarship in one of your companies. My father used to work there, and I won a scholarship in your company. And now he was the managing director of a company. So it kind of gives you a lot of sense of, when I talk about sense of achievement, the sense of achievement that I get is from what our employees' children have done. And that's very important for us. So the relationship, while I can talk to you about customer relationships with employees is equally important. The other part of relationships which is important is a community. So you are a community in the area that you're operating. Of course, Mr. Muthuraman is a classic case, or rather his company, Tata Steel, is a classic case of how to involve the community in a business. But for us in our companies, it's equally important that we get engaged when floods happen, even during COVID. Companies spend a lot of time it's not the money you spend on CSR, it's actually the amount of time and what help you can provide to people when they are in a difficult situation. Now, after relationship, let me just go back to customer focus. So, as I mentioned, there were very few people who bought cars in those days. And we had, I think in the 50s and 60s, we had a Fiat dealership. And Fiat was made by Premier Padmani out in Mumbai, in Kurla. And the vehicles were not very good. So the challenge we had is, we had a dealership, we were selling vehicles, and you would sell the vehicle to someone and they would get a vehicle and there would be a failure. And we would get a bad name because the vehicle was not up to speed. So we took a decision, this is in the 50s, to create a separate assembly line where we knew which are the parts which are faulty and what are the problems that would come. So we had a 6-stage assembly line where we used to get higher quality parts or import the part if need be and replace it on the vehicle. And we had a leak test as well in that line. And in a dealership, we actually had a 6-stage line where we would change parts on the OEM vehicle to make sure that when we sell it to the end customer, we don't end up with any problems. So this is something that was done in the 50s. And that's why a lot of people, when we got into other dealerships like Honda or even Mercedes-Benz, multi-generationally people remember the fact that this actually happened. In the 50s and 60s, we also had another dictate which said that if your car breaks down, within 24 hours, we will come and fix it. And we had mobile vans which used to go there and meet that purpose. So customer focus here is something that's very important. Another interesting nugget that I found out about actually my company was, I think R.C. Bhargav had written a book about Maruti quite a few years back. I forget the exact name of the book. But in that he mentioned the fact that in the 80s, when Maruti was starting out, the suppliers also helped. And he didn't mention the company by name, but he said a wheel company air freighted wheels to support them. And that was us. And we didn't air freight it from our joint venture partner. We found a company in Australia who was making the same wheel and bought the wheels from them and air freighted. We didn't have a relationship with that company prior to that. Of course, this continues in today's day and time. Today's day and time, of course, there are, late delivery charges and, line stoppage penalties and all these other contractual obligations. But a lot of these things were done prior to those points getting into place. So I've covered relationship and customer focus. The third point I'd like to cover is excellence. Now, as you probably are aware, TQM, TPM, all these kind of movements are efforts in which you're striving for excellence in either business or in uptime in the case of TPM. It also engages everyone in the organization, so those are good practices. But I'd like to take you back to probably the Second World War. So in the 1940s, when the Second World War took place, there was shortage of fuel in India, severe shortage. So nobody could, people who had cars couldn't actually run the cars very often because they didn't have fuel. So the government actually put out a tender saying that they wanted a design of what they called a gas plant. So a gas plant is something where you can put in, wood, and it would burn and churn out gas, and that gas would actually drive the vehicle. And there was a tender put out, and various people participated in it. And TVS actually won that tender. It was won with a Japanese design which had been reconfigured to take care of the input being wood, because there was no actual engine which was made at that time. And my grandfather actually, although he didn't speak a word of Hindi, traveled as far north as the northwest frontier province, along with a driver from Madurai who spoke Hindi well. So between two of them, they actually traveled across the country over a 4 or 5 year period selling these gas plants. And some of the, just interestingly, one of the customers that they found in Lahore actually later migrated to India and is actually the Nanda family. So, the interesting thing again, and I'm going back to relationships, you had this venture where you were selling gas plants to people who had cars and buses and trucks at that time. But once you did that business with them, you had to reconnect with them over decades. So a lot of these relationships actually play out over a much longer period than you probably imagine. Integrity is another point that I'd like to mention about. And when you talk about integrity, normally guys say, okay, the guy's done something wrong, there's a fraud, there's something which is criminal or unethical. You talk about those kind of points. But for us, integrity means doing what you say you're doing. And I'd like to take the example of the bus service that was started in 1911. So, short story, I won't tell you why the bus service started, but when the bus service was started, it was an endeavor to actually ensure that people in villages could actually get to the railway head. But over a period of time, it became a city bus. And people used to say you can set your watch by the time of the TVS bus. The way they did that is, there was no driving license or driving test at that time. So they came up with their own tests, which included fast response test. They would flash lights in front of drivers and make sure they could brake in time. They all had to, a lot of the drivers had to actually sit next to one of the founder's son and pass a test. So it was a very stringent test that was conducted. While the buses were running, they had inspection of the buses while they were running. So there would be people who will get on and do an inspection. They made sure that they gave incentives for or disincentives for people when the buses were not on time. It's written there very clearly that schedule adherence is of utmost importance. They had a lorry actually with spares that would cover the main routes so that if there was any breakdown, the lorry was there at short notice. And in the early days, they actually had a vehicle that had a magnet under it, which used to capture horseshoes, because they found the main reason for failure was puncture due to horseshoes puncturing the bus. So they actually had I saw a photograph of it maybe something like 20 years back, but there was this kind of Jeep type of vehicle that had a magnet under it, which used to catch the horseshoes and clear the roads. So in these ways, they actually made sure that the bus could meet the time adherence. When I started working, my father told me, he said, when you visit a customer, try to be there at least, be there 5 minutes before time, but show yourself maybe 2 minutes before time. Because if you go there 5 minutes before time, it may be a bit awkward for the person you're visiting because he wouldn't have expected you. But try to be there at least 2 minutes before so that you're always on time. I used to think that timeliness was something which was integral to our group, but it's actually integrity. saying doing what you say. And very often that means I've had a situation recently where a customer actually was not specific about what he wanted. But I said he was not specific about something on quality. And my guys were arguing and saying he didn't specify it exactly. So we're not liable to do anything about it. Then I said he's a customer. As long as he's been directional, we have to do something about it. If it means changing everything, we have to change it. So the point about integrity is, and the point about all these values is, sometimes you do these things even if it loses you money. You do it because you made a commitment, you made a statement, and you have to back that statement with your action. And that's what actually integrity means. Integrity means sometimes doing things because you've committed to doing it. And very often committing for me is even if you say it to somebody, you've committed it. So here I think I've covered probably in a very muddled way the 4 points which I think are values which are important, which I found very useful in my career, and I'm sure that you will find useful in your career, which are relationship, integrity, customer focus, and excellence. Excellence is also important because while all of you are young and you'll always think that, you can do something again, you don't often get opportunities for the second time. So the first time you do it, it's better to try to do something as if it's the last day that you have. It's the last day in your life, put everything into it. We're Indians, one thing that, separates us from other people is whatever we do, heart is probably as important as mind. So you put your heart into something and you do it. Even if it doesn't turn out exactly the way that you thought it would be, it'll always be better than what you think. So I'd like to end this with a saying from Peter Drucker, which basically says that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So with that, I'd like to thank all of you. Congratulations once again, and thank you very much for having me here today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring speech. It will remain etched in our hearts forever.
I now request Honorable Chairman Mr. B. Muthuraman of XIME Chennai to address the gathering.
Our chief guest for today, Mr. Sivasaram, Managing Director of Wheels India, and a real champion for manufacturing excellence, customer relationship, integrity, and value systems. Mr. Anil Joseph, President, XIME Society, Father Sebastian George, Director XLR Jamshedpur, my colleagues on the dais, dear students, their proud parents, XIM faculty members, and invited guests. First of all, let me congratulate the graduating students, all of you, and their proud parents, and wish the students a rewarding professional career. We are happy that you have been with us for the last 2 years, and I hope you have enjoyed your stay here as much as we enjoyed having you with us. Firstly, a word about our chief guest, Mr. Sivasaram. As I said, he is a champion of manufacturing excellence in India. He is also the champion for business excellence. He belongs to a group which has given the largest number of Deming Award winners in India, among all companies put together in India. He himself personally has won the Deming Award for individual contribution to quality movement in India. He is only the second individual to have won this award. So he is a very unique person, and I personally would like to thank him for coming here and spending his time with us. Thank you very much, Srivastava. A word on manufacturing. I don't know how many of you know that there is no country in the world in the progress of human civilization, in the progress of human development and economic development in the world for many, many hundreds of years. There is no country in the world which has become economically prosperous and wealthy without going through a solid phase of manufacturing. It is true of the United States of America in the 70s and 80s, where the manufacturing contribution of manufacturing in the total economic activities was in excess of 40%. It is true of Western Europe. It is true of South Korea. It is now true of China, where the manufacturing sector contributes 40% of the GDP of the country. So India cannot be an exception. The fact that India has taken a slightly different route is something which I'm sure it will get corrected over a period of time, and it is already beginning to get corrected. In India, the contribution of manufacturing sector to India's GDP is about 14-15%. The biggest advantage of manufacturing in a developed country like us, as I said, there is no country in the world without exception, and there is no exception to this that I've seen, which has reached a level of economic prosperity without going through a solid phase of manufacturing for at least 40-50 years. It is true of all successful economies of the world. The reason for that is simple. Manufacturing is one sector which takes jobs to the rural areas. And in a developing country, you need jobs not only in cities but also in rural areas, which are likely to be far more in number than cities. It takes jobs to people who are illiterate. It takes jobs people who are in the poor section of the society. It takes jobs to people who have not had the benefit of education, like in India it is the case. So for many reasons, and it spreads wealth, and it is a real creator of wealth. So when I saw your list, for example, of the recruitment, I was happy, not recruitment, admission and placement, sorry. I felt very happy that the placement is almost 100%. While that made me happy, the composition of the companies didn't make me very happy. I did not find too many manufacturing companies in that. Probably the current generation, is taken in more by the consulting and the banking and the finance sector and services sector and so on. There is nothing wrong in it, but please do understand the live wire of economic activity in a country is really in manufacturing. Most successful economies of the world, including what is happening today in China, have gone through agriculture, then followed by manufacturing, and that followed by services. That's the way the progression has taken place. And there are some very good reasons why the progression has taken along that kind of a journey. So please remember that when you choose your career, or maybe when you choose your second jobs, and when you look upon manufacturing as an important component of economic activity. Because that's going to happen in India very soon. Even in the last few years that I have seen, last, let's say 10, 15, 20 years, the share of manufacturing has actually gone up in India from about 12-13% to about 14, 15, maybe nearly 16%. And it is going to happen in India more and more. So we need good people like you in manufacturing, because manufacturing is the heartbeat of any economic activity in the world. I thought I'll leave this thought with you, and once again wish you all the best and wish you a very successful career. And please remember XIME in whatever else you do, because this has formed the basis of your human development as you go along. Thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking address. May I request Mr. Anil J. Philip, President, XIME Society, to hand over the memento to our chief guest. I now request Miss Niveda Kumar, an outgoing student of Batch 5, to give her impressions and propose a word of thanks on behalf of the graduating batch.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Dear all, it is an honor to stand before you today and deliver this speech as we gather here to celebrate our achievements and mark the end of our academic journey. So, with a heavy heart, it's time to bid goodbye to all those who were a part of this wonderful journey of 2 years. Batch 5, I guess the smallest batch, and started as a COVID batch. We were so eager to come to college. As I look back on time, I can remember talking to each one, and we spoke as if we had known each other for years together. We had this instant connect. I remember having those late night gossip sessions over Zoom after our online classes. Trust me, we hadn't seen each other in person during that time. I remember when we first arrived on campus, we found each other with a common ground and formed friendships that lasted till day. We explored the campus together and tried out new clubs and activities and supported each other through our ups and downs. Coming to college for Republic Day and Independence Day was like coming for a picnic. We had shared so many wonderful memories together, from spending countless hours studying, attending lectures, engaging in discussions, being both personal and professional, giving presentations, submitting assignments, those late night movies, a stroll to chillax, fighting over gulab jamun, chicken peas, and cauliflower 65. We used to plan the entire week to go out on a Sunday where we would debate as each one would suggest on a different thing, but end up sleeping in our rooms. Though we had so many fights and differences of opinion, we patched up today. We had most of our freedom and we explored the city and the night shared countless laughs and memories in our hostel rooms. From impromptu road trips to crazy pranks, we lived our life to the fullest. Looking back, I can't help but smile at the crazy, fun, and unforgettable moments we had. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm thankful to each one of you who has been a part of this. One thing I'm definitely going to miss is the exams, from making up acronyms and stories to actually teaching and studying just before 1 hour the exam. I can never forget gobbling up lunch and running for life projects, be it online, offline, be it sunning or be it raining. Sharing my experience, I got my first life project with Rane NSK. It started as 2 days on offline and went on to 4 days a week. Now I had to travel to Gudwanjari, which was about say 21 kilometers. At the same time, balancing club activities, your academics, and the life projects was a very crucial task. As I was a part of the HR club, we had our events on every Monday. So I had to convince the HR in Rane to let me come to office from Tuesday to Friday. And I had to promise him that I would work from home on Monday, and that's when he accepted. Coming unprepared for case discussions and presentations and reading it in a jiffy was an epic moment. There were times when the group members had absolutely no idea on what's on the slide and yet used to present it like a pro. Being bashed up left and right for being lethargic towards completing and publishing our research paper in the 5th SEM is a nostalgic moment. XIME has prepared us so well with last-minute challenges, be it performances, culturals, club activities, presentations, going to Bangalore for placements, that now we can handle anything and everything that comes our way. One more incident that I will never forget is the quiz competition that we attended in one of the HR sessions conducted by Atma. Ravi sir saw me near the library at around say 4 p.m. and asked me to join the session at 5:30 and get a few people along. This quiz was initially for the HR folks, and Ravi sir asked us to be ready. He was very confident that we would be participating, and he was pushing our teams there. So there were about 30 teams from various industries participating, and we were the only B school. We reached the seminar hall, the program started, we were all very relaxed, and all of a sudden, even we were asked to participate. So there were about 6 rounds, and at the 6th round, we have our winners announced, XIME Chennai. Trust me, the questions asked throughout was taught to us in all various subjects in class. This was a real test for knowledge in management, and it was a great opportunity given to us. Completely impromptu, no practice, no rehearsal, no preparation. The credits for us being in the position we are to be given to our dean, director, batch coordinators, and faculty members. Most importantly, thank you to all our parents who stood by us throughout. Without your support and guidance, we wouldn't have achieved so much. As we say goodbye to our college years, let's take a moment to cherish these memories and celebrate the friendships we've formed. Although we're parting ways, we're not really saying goodbye forever. We will continue to stay connected and support each other in future endeavors. And I know each one of us will go on to achieve great things, individually as well as collectively. Thank you for being a part of my college journey. It has been an honor and privilege to share these years with you, and I look forward for the next chapter of our lives together. Cheers to the memories we made and the ones we will make in future. I would like to end by saying, goodbyes are not forever, they're not the end. It simply means I'll miss you until we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Niveda Kumar. You spoke from your heart, impressing all the graduates.
May I now request the gathering to rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request Honorable Chairman, Mr. B. Muthuraman, to close the proceedings.
I declare the 5th Convocation of XIME Chennai closed. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us. And we request you all to join us for lunch in the canteen in the ground floor. The graduates are requested to assemble for a group photo before lunch in the portico.
I request the audience to remain standing till the convocation procession leaves the hall. Thank you.